the earth. And the Soviet national coat of arms was what triggered my catching it.
When you talked about the symbols there, that reminded me how much of your work is about the interpretation of symbols. And somebody mentioned to me that you were actually the model for the symbologist that was played by Tom Hanks in the movie Da Vinci Code, the Da Vinci Code. Can you say anything about that? Is it true that that was based on your work and your personality and your research?
Well, I'm not in a position to say for sure, because I'm not privy to how they came up with what they did in the movie. All I will say that is for sure and provable is that in 1991, I think it was, I did a presentation that was videotaped in Pasadena area at a bookstore, and the video is out all over the world. It's called The Basic Slide Presentation. And in that was back in 1991, Pasadena, I was introduced as an expert on secret societies and occult emblems and symbols of religion and government. And I walked up onto the stage, and it was a slide presentation that I was doing. And so I had the slide projector on, and the slide that was being projected on the screen, I left it on, even before I started, just to have a picture for people to see when they came in. So the slide projector was already on, and the picture that was on the screen was the back of the dollar bill, the pyramid on the back of the dollar bill. And when I walked up onto the platform, I walked in front of the screen, so now it's being projected on me.
That was on the movie.
And then I started pointing to the symbols on the dollar bill and explaining the emblems of words. That's exactly the same scene that's in the movie.
I remember it. It's very dramatic.
Yeah, and go back and get my basic slide presentation back in '91, and it's the same identical thing.
Imitation is the sincerest form of flattery.
Right, I guess. Of course, I didn't get a check or anything. And then, of course, in 1992 or 93, something like that, I did a video called Matrix of Power, in which I talked about how the world is being manipulated behind the scenes by occult or magical symbols and words that are deceiving civilization, deceiving people. And then later on, a movie comes out called Matrix. But I had been talking about this, this subject for many, many years before. Now, one thing a lot of people do not know is that I was going around, it can be told now, but I was going around to studios in the 70s and in the early 80s, especially in the 70s. I was going around to all the motion picture studios at nighttime, or groups, working class people in the studios would have me come in and do a presentation, slide projector, just a little Mickey Mouse operation, slide projector, throw up a screen, and I would give lectures on Bible codes, Knights Templars, secret societies, and those kind of arcane subjects. And many times I would give lectures like that to just the working class people of the studio. And then sometimes we would rent some office within the studio lot where I could go and sit and talk with a bunch of people who are working at the studio. And I was just having fun talking about things I enjoyed. They would order beer and pizza, we'd sit and talk, and I would do a 2 or 3 hour slide presentation on Bible codes, secret societies. And in '66, late '66, as I said before, I learned about the Illuminati as such. And so I started in giving lectures at the studios on Illuminati, Masonic orders, both the British Grand Lodge and the American Freemasonry, the French and German orders, and tying them all into the secret societies that operate around the globe. And also incorporating in those lectures, as I said, in the 70s, the subject of Illuminati, which I had gotten from Anthony Hilder's records that were put out in 1966. And so today I see, on television, on History Channel, and all kinds of movies from Hollywood talking about Illuminati.
It's actually come from your research. It's percolated itself down into the popular culture.
Well, I mean, if you just keep talking for 48 years, somebody's going to finally hear you somewhere.
Well, it's very possible that they were actually filming and taping you at the studio.
Well, I know they did. Actually, they were doing it, but they was like individuals who had their cameras and were videotape, and they would audio tape.
But even behind the scenes, there could have been recording going on.
Who knows?
Yeah, I mean, obviously, a lot of what you talked about has shown up in plot lines, in screenplays, and, and then in movies, obviously.
Absolutely.
So maybe we can go back again to where you got involved in. You were talking about the Soviet crest, and maybe we could pick up there.
Yeah, and so this was in '67. 1967, as I said, I'm in Glendale, California. I was researching the communist movement, and so I went to the World Book Encyclopedia, and there in the World Book Encyclopedia was a picture of the national coat of arms of the Soviet Union and the communist flag. And I already understood the symbols of the communist flag, but my eye caught that national coat of arms, and I saw in that symbol something I had seen the Nazis use, all the great nations of the world have used, all the presidents of the United States in their inaugural addresses use the same words and terms, all the senators and congressmen when they're running for office use that same term, that same symbol. And so I knew I had stumbled upon something of profound significance. I just didn't know what it meant, but I knew it's important. This is in '67. And so since '67, I have been researching this one term, this one symbol, and the more I find on it, the more I'm amazed at how much there is out there on this one secret symbol that nobody is aware that's right in front of you. It's one of those incredibly fantastic stories of something that is so awesome in scope, and it's sitting right in front of you, and you never saw it. That's how clever these guys are.
So what are you talking about? Because you said there, I mean, we're going to put it on the screen. There's two mountains and a rising sun.
Right.
Is that right?
Right.
So what are the words, and what does this mean?
But in order, look at, just to be able to see it, which you will be able to put into the video, but just to be able to see it is not sufficient. You need about 25 or 30 years of research to understand the significance of what you're seeing and what it actually means. So you'll be able to show it, and it will be something of interest that people will pick up on. But believe me, there's a bigger story yet. So when you are hearing the term Illuminati, or the concepts of secret societies, occult orders, and all that kind of thing, it's actually much bigger than you think. There's something far bigger going on the earth that most people are not aware of.
Are we talking about the rising sun? Are we talking about the rising of the New World Order? We're talking about. Exactly. We're also talking about something else, aren't we?
Yes, that's right. Something very big.
Something more.
Something goes all the way back into BC, back into the ancient world. Zachariah Sitchin and I have talked about this. At one time, I was in business with Zachariah Sitchin. I helped send him to different countries, and we were going to do a television, a 13-week mini special I was going to do with Zach. And Zachariah Sitchin has been my dear friend and a brilliant man, and I was so impressed with him, I talked him into signing a contract with me to do a 13-week mini-series for television. And unfortunately, the attorneys and the people who were financing the project for me, at the last minute, after we had already shot like 5 different countries, and we were almost through, they pulled the plug on the whole project. So it wasn't Zach's fault, it wasn't my fault, it was the people who were financing it, they faltered. But I've had a lot of opportunities to talk to Zachariah about things which I'm interested in. And I've learned a lot talking to him in private. which will unfortunately have to stay private. But
Okay, so